Yo, what is going on? We have a new interesting video today. If you don't know me, that's okay. My name is Junette. I'm a photographer out of Southern California. And the purpose of this video today is to share with you a beautiful preset that I've developed. Now, let me just give you a very quick backstory and we'll get right into the photos. When you're a Sony shooter like myself, they don't have good colors straight out of the camera. You know, I shoot in RAW. So here I am, hauling away at the computer, editing, hundreds of photos. So that left me with only one thing to do, and that was to come up with my own looks. Now, I have presets that are sort of my look, but I really like the way film looks. I do shoot film, not that often, but I do shoot it. And I also shoot digital, and most of my work is digital. So I wanted to have that look for my digital photos. So I gotta say, I spent a fair amount of time developing these presets, matching the colors and just getting everything right. So at this point in time, I have two color presets. I have Portra 400 and the Fuji Pro 400H. And then I just released three black and white presets. Probably the most three popular black and white film stocks out there today: Acros 100, HP5, and the Tri-X. So today and for this video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to use the Portra 400 preset. I'm pretty excited, but one more thing before we start. Yo, cue that lo-fi music. Too loud, too loud. Okay, all right, good. All right, let's get right into it. All right, guys, so we're gonna start off with this beautiful photo from San Clemente of this Volkswagen June bug. The Volkswagen bus, the classic bus that you see from California, but it's really from Germany. Okay, so here we're gonna throw on the Portra 400 film emulation. Boom. Okay, so that's pretty good. And just out of the box, I like the colors and everything, but I think I'm gonna do a few things. So first I'm just gonna adjust the exposure. I feel like I want it to be just slightly brighter, kind of almost a characteristic of film, but we're gonna balance everything out. So I made it slightly better, and I'm gonna lower the blacks just a bit. Okay, and then the highlights I might just bring down a tad to that. And I think the last and final thing that I need to do, which this is all personal preference again, is how warm do you want the photo? You know, Portra tends to be on the warmer side. It's kind of up to you, and it's always depending on the lighting conditions too, but you choose what you want to do, right? So I'm going to increase the warmth, aka the white balance, and I typically increase it to a point where it's not messing with other colors. So for example, I'm gonna probably put it around, I'm feeling something like this. All right. And then what you can do is you can always increase the vibrance a little bit. All right, here's me slamming it. But I like to slam it and then kind of go back down and get to the point that I think looks good. So I think I'm gonna stop at about right there. So this is it. That's the original. This is the preset. So as you can see, it takes on more of a filmic look, trying to emulate Portra 400. Again, this is all personal preference, so if you want to increase the warmth, you can. So boom. If you wanted to keep the exposure down, I mean, this is, like I said, it's all up to you. So that is the first photo. So not bad. All right, so this next photo was taken with my iPhone, and specifically the iPhone 12 mini. Okay, so the camera on this is not that good. This was taken in Malibu, Point Dume specifically, which I really like going there. This is the photo completely unedited, straight out of the iPhone camera. Now, we're gonna throw on the Portra 400 film emulation. Oops, that was Portra 800, which I haven't released yet. Still in the works. Okay, so this is with the preset on. I'm gonna make a few adjustments to my liking. So I usually like increasing the exposure to get the image just a little bit brighter. And you don't have to worry with this preset, because when you increase the exposure, you can just reduce or bring down the blacks to kind of win back some of that color. Not color, but you know what I mean, depth. So I think I might bring the exposure down just a bit more. Okay. Highlights, I kind of like where they're at. And then again, this is all personal preference, but going back to the white balance, Portra does have that look. So you decide for yourself how you want it to look. I'm gonna probably keep it about right there. And then I feel like just in general, this image, I think just the camera overall really desaturated things and brought, you know, the colors down a lot. So I'm gonna add some vibrance to kind of bring some of that back. Okay, maybe a little bit of saturation, but not a lot. Okay, try not to go overboard with the saturation, and a lot of people like to do that and bring back some more vibrantia here. And then I might actually make it just slightly warmer. Okay, and then one thing I wanted to change just slightly, because this was a very sunny day. I don't know why the iPhone captured it this way, but I want to sort of take some of the orange out of the sand. Where the heck are my tools? Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna find the color here, and I'm gonna just bring the saturation of that down just a bit to about there. Okay. I think I might want to just add a little bit more vibrance to about there. Original Portra 400. Original Portra 400. So I think I'm actually going to leave the white balance to what the preset sets it at, and I just increase the vibrance a little bit more, and I actually like this better. Okay, so moving on to the next photo. This was basically in the same location, just looking in a different direction, also taken with the iPhone. And if you're editing your photos, you're gonna be smart about them. So what I'm gonna do is take the settings from the previous photo, which is the Portra 400 film emulation, kind of tweaked for that specific photo, and I'm gonna add it to this. So as you can see, everything is a little bit different here, the lighting, the entire scenario. So I'm just gonna copy and paste those settings. Right off the bat, looks pretty good, but I think it definitely needs a few tweaks. Again, every photo is different, every camera is different, lighting conditions. Again, for me personally, I really like when Portra has that sort of bright look to it, but still retains the colors. I'm gonna lower the blacks a little bit, gonna give it a little bit more of a, bring some depth back into there. And what else do I want to do here? I think I'm gonna add a little bit more white balance, just slightly more, and then I'm gonna increase some vibrance here. Okay, I think I'm gonna bring down the exposure just a bit. Yep, do right there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit more warmth to the photo. So this is where we started. This is where we ended up. All right. And again, tint, I wouldn't mess around too much with the tint. Okay, I think it's preset in a pretty good spot. So there we go. Good old Joshua Tree National Park. Have any of you guys ever been there? It's pretty cool actually. And you know, I was just walking around and I saw this shadow on this rock and I really liked it. So here it is in its natural form, natural colors, straight out of, this time, my Sony camera. And we're gonna throw on the Portra 400 emulation. Okay, so right out of the box, I am liking the look. I think I'll do a couple things here. Might just increase the vibrance just a bit. I want to lower the blacks just a tad bit. I think the exposure is just fine, just how the preset sets it. Maybe give it just a little bit more warmth, like right about there. Maybe just the highlights just a little bit. One tip when you're editing, guys, don't edit in like a very bright room or have this light shining right in your eyes. So I'm like kind of checking the way this thing looks, because that totally messes with the way your photos are gonna look, especially when you're editing. That is definitely a trick. So definitely I'm just lowering the white balance a tad bit. I'm actually gonna put it back to what it was straight out of the preset. Another photo from Joshua Tree. This time I'm in the passenger seat of my friend's Tacoma. Here we are. This is the stock photo, stock colors. I say stock because I'm a car guy, and if it doesn't have mods on it, it's stock. Boom. So we're gonna throw the preset on there. I already like how that looks, like straight off the preset. I don't think I would touch much from here, honestly. Maybe just lower the blacks a little bit. I think the white balance is perfect. I think the exposure is fine. Yeah, there's not much I would touch. I like the highlights. I think I'm gonna leave, maybe just lower them just a little bit. And Joshua Tree is just a very orangey place. So here I'm messing with the tint because the tint just seems a little too green, I think. So what I'm doing is increasing the tint. And I think for Portra, I think I want it to be somewhere about there. Again, vibrance, I wouldn't touch it too much depending on the situation and the place, but this place is already pretty colorful, so I'm probably leave it as is. Maybe bring the saturation down a little bit. Yeah, I like that. All right, so the next photo here, this was also taken in San Clemente. I forgot where. I just really like the flowers and the colors in this one. And I think this is gonna be a good example of where Portra 400 really shines in sort of creating this pastel look to your image. And there's a lot of colors here that can be turned into pastel, especially the greens, reds, orange, yellows, those types of things. That's where Portra works really well. So here we go. I'm just throwing the preset right on. Okay, right on. I actually really like the way it looks just like that. I do think that the exposure, because this was a pretty bright image from the start. So I think the exposure was a little bit too high for this image. Sorry, I have to do this again because this light is killing my my vibe here. Let's see, highlights. Again, because it's a bright image, I'm just gonna bring them down a little bit. Blacks, I think we can bring back some of the depth in the shadows. And then I don't think I'm adding just a little white balance. Okay, just a little more than what the preset came at. Again, everybody's preference is different. I think I'm gonna bring some of the saturation down and then just increase the vibrance instead. Gonna just adjust the tint a little bit. Maybe give it just a tad bit more warmth. Yep, and that is all I would do to this photo. All right, the next photo here, this is also in San Clemente. Can you tell I like shooting in San Clemente? The colors and everything are just so good. Okay, here's the raw image. Gonna throw on the Portra 400 preset. Dude, I really like this right off the preset. Honestly, I'm not even gonna touch it. Because it was really bright that day and I was shooting with the diffusion filter, the highlights are kind of popping. Let's say if I didn't have that diffusion filter on, there wouldn't be so much of a glow on the highlights. So honestly, I'll probably just bring the highlights down there and that's it. I think that's beautiful. I love the colors. It's looking really good. So we're gonna go on to the next photo. Okay, second to last photo here. This was taken also on my Sony. The only ones from the iPhone were from the Malibu shoot. So here we go. Raw photo, Portra 400. Yeah, that's looking pretty good right off the bat. So I think I might just make a few adjustments here. I'm gonna start off a little bit, adding a little bit more warmth. Okay, increasing the white balance a little bit. We'll go right there. I think the exposure's fine. Might just bring the highlights down just a little bit, blacks down a little bit to about there. I might actually come a little bit down with the white balance. Probably about right there, and then I might just give it a little bit pop of vibrance. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so for this last photo, I was in Istanbul. I was there on vacation last summer, and I snapped this photo from the bus. Okay, so this is the raw photo. I'm gonna throw on the Portra 400 preset. Already looking super filmic. I think to add a little bit more to that Portra look, I'm gonna just increase the white balance a little bit here. Okay, to what looks good to the eye. Of course, it's important that you like the way it looks. So I'm gonna stick with that. And this honestly could be called done right there. You can bring back a little bit of the depth in the blacks. That's it. That's all I would do, honestly. I love it. It just looks good. What can I say? So as you guys can see, you know, this preset is pretty much 95% plug and play, and that's kind of how my other ones are as well. Of course, like I said, for the billionth time, you're gonna have to make a little adjustment. But some photos like that last Turkey one might just work perfectly. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. I'd be happy to answer them for you. All the presets are on my website. I'll leave that down below. And hopefully you like the outcome of the preset. And that's the most important thing to me, is that these presets work for your images, help you get the look that you want. Who doesn't want their stuff to look like Portra 400? Let's be honest. It's such a good film stock. I mean, that's like the one I always go for when I want to shoot film. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being patient. I'd love to hear any feedback from you. We'll come back with another editing video, maybe like this one, maybe with a different preset in the future. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see each other in the next video.